I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. And I sure do love my job. Yeah. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I'm born to preach the gospel. I sure do love my job. Yeah. Yes, I really love my job. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Yes, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Let's get firmly rooted. Firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. Yeshua, 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 Yeshua. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. We're disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. Let's keep firmly rooted. Firmly rooted.
Yo, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Feels good to be back live at the coffee shop and also live with you guys on the virtual. Man, it's a good day. It's a good day. Good morning, good morning. Hope all is well. I got the whole family here. Well, minus my lovely bride, but the fellas are hanging out. And so today, actually, I just wanted to preach the gospel. I feel like, I don't know, it's been a while since I've just preached the gospel on here. And then also, it's been a couple weeks since I got the opportunity to preach the gospel to somebody. So I'm just going to preach the gospel. Is that all right with you guys? I'm going to start preaching before you can respond, so it doesn't matter. But let me know if you can hear me. I switched microphones last minute, and so hopefully all is well with that. I got a heart, so maybe that means we're good. So I want to preach the gospel, and I'm going to start at the beginning. Preach it. All right, you can hear me. Oh, I can't get it. There we go. So I'm gonna start at the beginning. So in the beginning, God created heaven and earth, right? He made all the creepy things to creep on the earth. He made everything, and everything was good. And then he decided, he said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness. And so from the dust of the earth, He created us, male and female. And the garden was perfect. Everything was good. He gave us a job. He said, be fruitful, multiply, subdue the earth, right? Bring it into order. And it was perfect. And then sin entered in, right? When Adam and Eve ate of the fruit, right? He says, you can eat of all the trees in the garden except for this one, right? And so why even put that tree in there, right? Because love always has to have a choice. And so the Garden of Eden had to be there because love always has to have a choice. And what happened when Eve and Adam ate of that tree, they forsake relationship with God for knowledge of things that he had yet to reveal. And so from that moment on, right, human beings have been separated. It caused separation from God and man. It was supposed to be like that John 17 reality, like that oneness, mutual indwelling, right? Like him and us and we and them. We're supposed to walk in the still of the day, in our own personal gardens with him and all that stuff. Everything changed when they sinned. And so from the garden until now, until reality, until like present day, it's just been this fight of man doing their own thing, man trying to be gods of their own lives. And if you look at the world around us, it reveals just that, right? There's wars, there's rumors of wars, there's famines and all these, it's a balloon. Death, decay, all these things, because the end of sin is always death. And so if you look around us, you see chaos, you see all this thing, and it's because man is trying to be gods of their own life, and the reality is that we suck at it, right? And we're doing the best that we can, right? For you and I, we grow up and we do the best that we can. We live our lives to the best that we can do. And for some of us, people tell us about this God, but we don't really know who he is. We don't, and we go through life, and mercifully, for a lot of us, that ends in brokenness. It ends in broken relationships, financially. You get brokenness in like job security and in all these different things, in health sometimes. And God, in the very beginning, had a plan because he knew that we couldn't do this on our own, that it wasn't about being gods of our own lives. Like he realized that the world is designed when broken people, right, hurt people. And so if you let a lot of people trying to be gods of their own lives, there's going to be brokenness in the world. And we're going to get to a place where we got to cry out, where we're going to humble ourselves, right? We're going to get to the end of ourselves and say, you know what? I suck at being God of my own life. And we're going to cry out, and God's going to show up, right? And just taking it personal, that happened to me, right? So I grew up in the church. Both of my parents loved Jesus, and we went to church all the time. But still, for me, it was just tradition. I knew about God, but I didn't know him. And so I just became a total prodigal at one point, going party after party, doing this, that, and the other, until I met somebody who preached the gospel to me. And for the first time ever, I seen somebody my age who actually believed it. It wasn't just tradition. It wasn't just religion. It was like, no, this guy actually knew God. And I said, I didn't know that was possible. Especially like my age. I thought you had to go to seminary and all these other things, and then you might start knowing who he is. But it's not like that at all. And so I was in my room and I said, God, if you're real, just alone in my room, nobody, no prompting from my parents, no prompting from anybody, just my heart crying out to the creator of it all. And I said, God, if you're real, I want to know you. And God literally showed up in a unique way that touched my heart, and I found something that was way better than sex, way better than drugs, way better than alcohol. And I started to realize, man, God is a personable God, that he wants relationship with us, right? Not more than religion, right? Like I believe that every single religion Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, Christianity, every single religion is man seeking to get closer to God, right? We're on this like kind of ladder. It's like we do good, do good, do good, do these sets of rules, right, so that we can make it to God eventually. But the problem is that God's a just God, right? And so it doesn't matter how much good we do, we're never going to make it. Right, and so that's that plan that I was talking about from the beginning. Jesus said, I cannot watch them be on their own. I cannot leave them on their own. I'll go. I'll step out of glory. Like God came in the flesh through Jesus, and he says, they're never going to make it. And a lot of times, like people say, like, man, Jesus must have been super arrogant to say, I'm the only way. Right? And it's just like, no, it wasn't this arrogant statement. It was because he's the only person that stepped out of glory, right? He said they'll never make it, right? Because it doesn't matter how much good we do. It doesn't matter how much good deeds we do. We give to the poor. We try to establish world peace. We'll never, it's a pointless ambition. We'll never get there until the second coming of Jesus. We'll get world peace when Jesus comes back. So it doesn't matter how much good we do. If he's truly a just God, then he also has to judge our bad deeds, right? And every single one of us has done something bad, right? Like we lied here, we cheated there, we stole this, we did something that's fallen short of the glory. And all sin, every one of them, equals death. And so we'll never make it to God. And so God said, I'm going to come to them. And that's why Jesus says he's the only one, because he's literally the only one that came to earth and came and made a bridge and says, it's not by your works. It's not by what you do. It's not about your good deeds. It's by what I did on the cross. I hung and died for you, right? And so that Jesus, and so that now God doesn't see your sin, but he sees my righteousness. And so when we humble ourselves and we accept that sacrifice, then we are saved. And that's it. Like it's not about works. It's not about going through all these motions. It's about accepting who Christ is. He says, with man's heart, we believe unto righteousness, and with our confession, salvation is made. And so, like, come on, guys, it's so good. And so that's why Jesus says he's the only way. And that's essentially the gospel. Essentially, the gospel is surrender. It's surrendering the idea that I'm, in control and the God of my own life, and saying, God, come take your rightful place. Come take your rightful place in the driver's seat of my life, and you control it all. Right? Like now you have full authority to chime in on my relationships. You have full authority to chime in on my financial decisions, and you determine my standard of living. Right? I trust you. I trust you more than I trust my own will. Right? Because you got a higher perspective. Right? Your thoughts are not my thoughts. Your ways are not my ways, and I trust you are for me and for me. And this surrender is not a once upon a time, I said a prayer, right? This surrender is a lifelong journey. Like we're all in this process of sanctification. It's every single day. God, I'm going to surrender again. I'm going to surrender to your will today, right? Oh man, I messed up yesterday. God, I'm getting back on track today. It's this lifelong journey where we get to do life with him, right? That's what the garden was. It was supposed to be this lifelong journey of us journeying with the Lord. Letting him reveal things to our hearts, reveal things about this and this and this, right? About this person. A lot of times we see this guy in front of us and we prejudge him. We say, this is who he is. This is his identity. Instead of, walking with Christ and saying, God, tell me about this guy. God, tell me about my son. God, tell me about my wife. God, tell me about my neighbor who I can't stand, right? And letting him reveal things to our hearts. That's what life is supposed to be like, and it's amazing. Once we humble ourselves and surrender, Jesus shows up and literally changes everything. There's not been a day that's gone by that I've ever regretted surrendering to Christ. people who knew me before 2010 would tell you I had a lot of bad days. And my dad laughs. I had a lot of bad days, man. And once I surrendered to Christ, you can ask my dad. Man, there was a joy that came with that nobody can take away. There's like this smile that I'm always smiling. That showed up, nobody can ever take it away, because man, Jesus is in control. He's always in control. It doesn't matter what happens in the world. We don't put our trust in vaccines. We don't put our trust in government and presidents. We put our trust in the name of the Lord, and He never disappoints. He is faithful and just, and He's on our side. And so that's what I got for you guys, man. I hope this blessed you this morning. Yeah, come on. God's good. Love you guys. All right. Peace.